Josephine and Ken. Welcome to First Glance Film Festival. We're super excited to have you, and I can't wait to talk about this short because I got to see it yesterday, and I just think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Do you know what I loved about this movie? Like there's so many like big like superhero films and like these movies with all these complex CGI sequences, and this film to me was just the perfect reminder that all you really need is a great script and good actors, and it's just gold. And you guys, I just thought you knocked it out the park. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm dying to know where the idea came from and how it found its way into a short. So maybe, Josephine, you could speak on that. If you're going to say it's your personal life, I'm going to blush.
Well, so this short was actually written in for a 72-hour shootout. It was the AA Film Lab 72-hour shootout in 2019. So we actually got a prompt. I think the keyword was balance, right? Was that it?
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah.
So we had a writing team set up already. We already knew what actors we were using. We had the director. So literally all we needed was the script. But we knew Vin was going to be one of the lead actors in it. We knew I was going to be one of the lead actresses. But yeah, so we had a writing team of 4 people, and I think we wrote the script and had it like to the actors like within 8 hours, probably at like 5 a.m.
This whole thing was shot in 1 day.
Yeah.
And the film was completed in 72 hours. So it was quite a marathon, I believe. But I mean, we had so much fun shooting it.
It was so much fun.
I mean, it looked like fun. I was like, I want to be in that. It just looked like you guys were having the best time.
Yeah. And
I think
also,
one of the nice things about having a time constraint is that you can't overthink anything. So it's just, all right, we're just going to go with it. Balls to the wall.
I love that. And was there an opportunity on set for you guys to improvise a little, or were you very sort of did you stick to the script? I mean, it's difficult with that time constraint, isn't it? So how did that work for you as actors?
I think we stuck mostly to the script, but I think like there were a couple of moments here and there that we improvised, like changed words a little bit. But I think in general, we stuck because it was a pretty tight schedule already.
Yeah.
And we shot the whole thing in Josephine's apartment. So all of the shots were in one location. But yeah, a little bit of improvising here and there, but mostly I think we stuck to the script.
Yeah.
And the script was great. My favorite line was, I wrote it down because I was like, I got to write it down. We had 17 simple rules. That was my favorite line. Like, it slightly gave me some PTSD from my childhood, but I was like, that's genius. So how much of Josephine is in Jen? Are you that type A?
I'm definitely very type A. I think Vin and I have known each other a very long time, and I would say both of us are very type A, so those characters were kind of written for us in mind.
Yeah. I mean, it was really great because we, like the actors knew each other, the crew, we kind of knew each other. So it was just like coming together as friends and coming together and create something fun. And a lot of our personalities ended up in there as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. And how brilliant that you get to work with your friends.
Yes, exactly.
I could just always do that. Just work with my friends.
Totally.
And because of the way the film evolved, in terms of Vince, in terms of like prepping for the role, was there much of that, or was it such an organic process and you working together from beginning to end that there wasn't real sort of prep? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know that some roles for me, depending on what it is, there's, a huge prep and a lot of that goes into it. But because this was, we were, like we finished the script, or I guess Josephine finished the script in the morning and we read it first thing in the morning and then we just started shooting right away. So there wasn't really a huge process.
Table read to shoot.
Right, table read and then we're going to shoot it. So making decisions quickly, like talking to each other, how we want to approach it. And then as we shot, maybe change some stuff here and there. But it was basically just us, like Josephine we've known each other for a while. So I think part of the writing kind of geared towards us already.
Totally.
So it was much easier to get in character
that and
that
just
way.
running lines back and forth the entire time. We were like getting fitted for our costumes and eating lunch and recording our lines.
The beautiful about that is that you don't sort of dampen the actor's natural instinct, because you're right, you can totally overthink things.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that there was such a deadline, you were like, just get on with it.
I think it was really helpful too that like two of the writers were also in the cast, so we could kind of check each other. It's like, why did we write that line? What were we talking about? Oh, this is what we're trying to do. And our director and our DP had actually been with us the entire night while we were writing, so they'd already planned out a storyboard. They'd already kind of done their pre-production at the same time we were writing the script. So even though it was very quick, it actually felt we were really prepared for it, because we just like not left each other for 24 hours.
So you said there were four writers altogether?
4 of us altogether.
Cool. So how does that work with so many people committed to writing one piece? Like, was that the first time you had to share the workload with so many others?
That was the first time I've written with that. I've always had a writing partner before. One of my two of my writing partners actually were 2 of the writers on this. We never worked in like it felt like a TV writer's room, which is kind of how we wanted to treat it. We like just kind of, once we got the theme of balance, we threw out just like first thoughts of what balance brought to mind, and Andy threw out open relationship. I'm almost kind of.
That's hilarious.
And we're like, that's the one we're going with. But it actually made things a lot easier, because we couldn't overthink it. If a joke didn't work, you just kind of looked at everybody. If all 4 of us didn't think it was funny, it probably wasn't funny. And we all have such different points of view and where we're coming from as writers, that like a joke landed with all of us. We were like, okay, that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah, that's kind of why I asked, because with four strong personalities and different points of view, how do you negotiate and find what eventually arrives on the page?
Right, exactly.
We
got lucky. We had fun.
Would you do it again?
I would totally do it again. I don't know if how everyone else feels about not sleeping for like 72 hours. But.
Josephine is amazing, because whatever she sets her mind on, she gets it done. So we've done short films together before. Multiple times. We do a lot of creative things together, and she gets it done and have a lot of fun in the process. So yeah, of course we'll do it again. Yeah.
Oh, well then I love you, because you always come through. So we're good.
And in terms of the genre, were you able to pick which genre, or were they quite specific about? I mean, I guess is it a dramedy, would you call it, or a comedy?
I think we call it a dramedy, but like with slightly ridiculous fantastic comic elements.
And so were you able to choose whether it was drama, comedy?
Yeah, it was open to whatever. The only thing you had to interpret was the keyword, which is the balance.
Yeah.
We had a kind of we were allowed to, for the rules of the competition, assemble our teams beforehand and have meetings to do with setup, like where you would shoot and equipment and stuff. We just couldn't talk about the actual story we were thinking of writing, but we had discussed a bit about wanting to do a comedy, and a lot of people are like wanting to do dark comedies. And we kind of figured out as like with the writers and the DP and everybody, what everyone's sensibilities were and what things people thought would be really fun to shoot. And we kind of all just wanted to do something that made us laugh. So comedy it was.
And you were able to pick the people you got to work with?
Mm-hmm. So when I decided I wanted to do this shootout, I kind of wanted to just like assemble my dream team of people I'd worked with before and really enjoyed working with, and thought would be fun to work together again. So which is why like Vin, Kira, and Gina and I've acted with all of them before. We've been in classes together. Ricky is my producing partner and my best friend from college. Eddie was a director I'd worked with before. Zach DP'd, he was like a AD on one of our web series a long time ago that Vin was also in. So it was just, and then he brought in some other people too. So it just all came together as people that really enjoyed working together and were willing to spend 72 hours and work together again.
I think that's key. That's totally key. In 72 hours, making a film, you want to know that you can work together with each other and collaborate
the whole time, because it's going to be a stressful 72 hours. So as long as everyone you're with is like in it and in it to have fun and just create something, that's the kind of energy that you need.
Yeah, amazing. I have one more question. I'm going to move slightly away from the film, but I'm just curious. So I'm Asian descent. I'm half Chinese, and I've always been in this business and have come up against my own personal obstacles as an Asian creative. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, whether you feel like there's been a shift towards more inclusivity in the last couple of years. I'm just curious to know your perspective on that.
Do you want to go first, Finn?
I mean, me? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think Joe and I started as actors pretty much at the same time, like 10 years ago at a theater company in downtown New York. That's where we met. Oh my God, that's a long time ago.
Oh my gosh.
But I feel like from then till now, I think a lot has shifted. I mean, in terms of representation, diversity, inclusion. I think there's so much more to go for sure. But the fact that last year and this year, you know, with last year Best Picture at the Oscars, for example, you know, with Parasite, and this year with so much more diversity in the Oscars, I mean, it gives me a lot of hope. But for sure, I think there's a long way to go, but we have definitely moved forward for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I definitely
agree. Add to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like Vin and I started basically acting together around the same time in New York, and doing like experimental downtown theater to what we're doing now. But yeah, I think there have been, even just like looking at the things we used to like talk about going out for, the plays we were doing, or this small role here, like compared to what was happening like 10 years ago to like now, I think we both have been seeing so many more opportunities with representation. I think the other thing that's interesting is, especially with everything that's happened this year, is that the Asian American community has become much more vocal because you are now hearing our voices in the media and seeing these stories, and people are talking about it more, especially in our generation. There is a huge influx of like Asian creatives that want to see those stories on screen.
Yeah.
And I forgot where I read this, or I was at like a talkback or something, but people are talking about the change is going to happen on the screen when it starts to happen first behind the camera and behind the scenes, in the casting room, in the writer's room, in the director's chair. And I think that's so true. I think you're seeing that now, which is also why when we made this film, we tried to assemble a really diverse cast, and it was for an Asian American Film Festival. And we wanted to have as many people of color on our production team as possible. I think we really love that. And we had I think it was like 70% of us were women on our set.
Yes, girl.
Yes. So, but that was really important to us. So.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, guys. I've absolutely loved chatting to you, and we're really thrilled that you took time out to come join us at the festival. I wish you all the best. And I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
So
and thank you to
Bye.
Mr. Short for making this all possible. Good night.
Good night.